All right. Good morning, everyone. This is the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King, and you can find me on social media at Barrett Gruber. This is Bill Kimmler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. You can follow him at politicalbillsc. Welcome, Mr. Bill. How are you?
Good morning. I am tuning in, or I'm dialing in live from Winchester, Virginia at a Marriott.
What is there anything significant about Winchester, Virginia that people should know? Did you do any research?
It's where I am.
Just where you okay.
This is just the halfway point between Greenwood, South Carolina, and Albany, New York.
Okay.
And that is where my destination is taking me today.
And just to give everyone, so Bill is remote this morning because
I am on the lam. I am running from the law.
He is on the way to the great state of New York, where he will be partaking in his oldest daughter's nuptials.
I am giving my daughter away in marriage.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And congratulations to Amanda, of course, and her future.
And I am broke. Cheers. I'm broke.
So what he's asking is, please sign up for memberships for the All About Nothing podcast so that you don't have, so he doesn't have to.
We need you to buy some merch. Take a look at this hot merch right here. Black, white, and blue in the South hat.
I did get a notification that one was sold. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it, or apparently I got it like on Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
And that was a whole $2 that went towards the big media group. So in revenue.
I see the upgrade in equipment. The new studio looks nice.
I did move some stuff around.
Yeah, it was maybe our hit or miss show will hit a little bit more now that you got those extra $2.
That'd be great. So you can check out members.theallaboutnothing.com. That'd be fantastic. We are in the running for the Best of Columbia. The voting started yesterday, which we've gotten a fair amount of pretty good engagement. I have not. So Ami pointed it out.
Are they publishing results live as the votes come in, or
no?
Okay.
Ami did point out, though, that every single podcast that is listed as a nominee for the Best of Columbia, I have either been on or they have been on All About Nothing, which is interesting that the podcast verse in Columbia, South Carolina is that
very
small,
inbred, very inbred,
that I can have that much of an impact on all of them. Yeah. So
but what does this get you? I mean, so let's say you win and you've won before.
Yes.
And so there's a big money prize at the end, lots of fame, lots of free advertising. What's the benefit to you that you're working so hard to earn this achievement?
So there isn't. You get your name.
Okay.
There is no.
You don't go on to like state finals. You don't go on to national finals. That's not.
Yeah. No.
Nothing.
The only thing that you get is notoriety. You get bragging rights to be able to say that you were voted as the best local podcast in Columbia.
Don't you have to pay as well to receive your reward?
So you can get a free piece of paper in the mail it's cardstock. It's nice. I mean, it's, I put it up inside of a poster in my room. But you get also invited. You get 2 tickets to what is the Best of Columbia party, which sounds like it'd be an exclusive event, right? Yeah, no. They sell tickets to that to the general public for people to come to as well. But then you also get the privilege of being emailed and phone called asking if you'd like to advertise with the Free Times Post and Courier, a free newspaper that you get that you can go pick up every week. So that was one of the reasons that last year Zach and I both kind of agreed that it really wasn't something that we were going to try for. We didn't do a whole lot of pushing. We just kind of said, hey, we're nominated. Yeah, we ask that you potentially go out there and vote for us. But in the end, it's really not that big a deal to us. But we did
until you lost to a pair of chiropractors.
That is correct.
Right?
As soon as we lost to the chiropractors, I was like, son of a bitch.
Then it hurt.
Because because and they're nice guys. They are genuinely. They were very friendly and courteous and kind when I was there on their show. I did ask if they'd want to come on my show, but I got no return on investment on that. But it's not for everybody, but regardless, they are genuinely. I think they are nice guys. I listen to their show and sometimes question, some of the questions that they ask. My friend Preach Jacobs has been on their show at least once. We've had some other people that have gone on their show that have been on our show, and the experience between the two is different. I'll just say, not to accuse anyone of anything, but some people that left their studio felt a little uncomfortable, and not because of the adjustment. But it was,
I'm sorry, that is way too vague for 5:30 in the morning.
I know,
I need details.
Well,
like they start making out in front of you. It was that uncomfortable. I mean, what was uncomfortable here?
Questions asked sometimes. Preach Jacobs is a DJ, and so some of the questions that, while they were potentially appropriate for asking a DJ these questions, some of them kind of went into a direction that was more of a stereotypical sort of thing that you would imagine about an artist or So, and you can listen to the episodes; they're all out there available. I'm not going to say the podcast because I'd rather you go out there and vote for us and forget that those two either exist at all.
I think I need to get on that show because I have a special skill honed from many decades of experience making hosts feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was going to tell you also Tuesday when you asked me about my trauma. There was something that happened over the weekend that
I caught that.
Yeah.
I caught that, and I should have dove further into it because there was something else that apparently happened in your world that you thought I knew about.
You know what? If it's me disclosing, it's not really a HIPAA thing, right? So that's what.
If it happened to you, sure, yeah.
I'm not
to
talk
about all your boils, talk about all your
you're getting
injuries.
close.
Go right ahead.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
I will just say this: hemorrhoid is uncomfortable, and should absolutely be treated the appropriate way.
I regret asking.
Yeah, you should. And anyone having breakfast right about now probably also. No, it was.
We have officially run out of topics. We are out of ideas, and we are now talking about Barrett's hemorrhoids. There we go.
It's only the second time in my life that I've had one. But yeah. So anyway, hey, look.
Hey, it comes from excessive straining. That's what I hear. It's all self-inflicted.
I have been doing a little bit more lifting lately, and I think that's probably what did it. I do want to talk about you posted last night's and I'll read it because
okay. Do it in my voice. I want to hear what I sound like impersonated.
Sure. Hold on a second. Let me I don't have anything to gargle. So you said so Trump's signature policy action, the beautiful tariffs that he enacted on Liberation Day. I should have done air quotes, but this is audio, which crashed the stock market, disrupted trade around the globe, and were rescinded for the most part just days later, have just been found to be illegal by the U.S. Court of International Trade. All that pain for absolutely no gain. I want to ask.
Yeah, we are now celebrating Liberation Day from Liberation Day
for a completely different reason.
We've been liberated from Liberation Day.
Right. What does what is it that the U.S. Court of International Trade impact have on the president? Like do you know what their power is to be able to influence the tariff situation?
I'm sure like any other court, it'll probably get appealed, taken to the Supreme Court for a ruling. But basically, this court found that he overstepped his authority. So apparently you can't go imposing tariffs on every nation in the world without an act of Congress to do so.
Right. Okay.
And the act that the Trump administration invoked in order to do so was not appropriate for tariffs. It never had been used for tariffs before, and the court found, can't be used for tariffs. So the interesting thing is that case was brought to that court by 5 businesses represented by conservative Republican lawyers. And it was in front of a panel of judges appointed by Bush and Trump himself. And they all said, hey, this tariff's bad idea. These big, beautiful tariffs, bad idea. So I don't know if that means that every tariff is immediately rescinded, or if it gets appealed and then the Supreme Court either decides to stay it or hear it or what have you. So more information to come out. This is just a late breaking judgment that came out last night.
I have to imagine that once the U.S. Court of International Trade has it sounds very official, U.S. court,
yeah,
right? I would have to imagine that once they come out with a ruling on something like that, that they would potentially file, that there would be an injunction at least to put a halt on any of these tariffs. Like the
name of that court makes it sound like The Hague.
Doesn't it?
You would expect the president to be immediately arrested, possibly executed. Yeah, it just got that official sound to it, like you were involved in war crimes.
It does. It has, yeah. I mean, like I imagine like Sean Connery being brought in chains and shackles, and whatnot for his crimes against the.
It would be beautiful if he was immediately arrested and sent to Alcatraz.
It'd be something. I have individuals that I know that still have a lot of, and look, they're very confused about what it is that the intent of tariffs are. And I certainly recognize the necessity of tariffs in situations where there is something being manufactured in the United States. The United States has a higher price for a living cost than other parts of the world, but those products being produced in other parts of the world and then flooding our market can have a dramatic negative effect on a company here in the United States that would be producing that same thing and trying to make sales of that product, but they can't sell it as cheaply. So having tariffs in place allow for our government to sort of float the scales, set the scales so that this product being created in the United States could be
we the consumer would have to pay as much for that imported product as we would if it were produced domestically. So yeah, evens the scales at the expense of the regular person like you and I who loves to shop on Temu. Now our Temu products are a little higher than before.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it one of two ways. You can either have tariffs or subsidies. And with as financially conscious minded as the GOP tends to make themselves think, or at least Trump thinks he is, then obviously tariffs would be the way to go in order to try and protect that American-made product. This isn't what that's about. These are reciprocal because Donald Trump sees a difference in what we export to one country and what we import from that same country, and thinks that there's some sort of that those two things need to be equal in order for us to be like trade partners. And that's not the case.
Listen, have we ever in our 40 some years talked about international trade before? Never, right? We never used or talked about tariffs. We never cared about it. It was only when this buffoon came out with this chart and said, we're going to start imposing tariffs on island nations occupied only by penguins, that you realized, okay, we better be paying attention here. Because normal presidencies, normal administrations impose tariffs. There's Congress imposing tariffs, and it's very targeted, it's strategic, it's thought out, there's lots of math behind it. It's smoother to the point where you and I don't notice it, and you just let the experienced economists work it out. But instead, you get a guy that went on ChatGPT, came up with a bunch of countries and random numbers, and then said, all right, here we go, 150% tariff on everything coming out of this nation. You realize that you were dealing with incompetency. You're dealing with buffoonery, and it's coming at the expense of especially small businesses in our country that have had to close up shop because now their livelihood has just been taken away from them because there's no thought process behind this. The waffling back and forth. Did you see the little video I posted that I shared? It had Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck on it. pulling a sign off a tree that said, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season.
Classic.
The sign said tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off. That's this administration. It is chaotic without thought process. And you only have the MAGA hats back there going, oh, what a genius at everything he does. When the market reflects, no, he is not a genius. When all international trade experts say, no, this is not a genius. It's just random chaos. And that's why we're talking about it today and have never had to talk about it before.
Well, and the trade and the trade court coming out and nullifying these tariffs, it is also an indication of just how chaotic this whole thing is. The fact that I mean, I can't think of another time that there was some sort of a ruling that had to come out of the U.S. Court of International Trade. I don't think that would have made headlines under another administration. So what we have is a president who continues to just throw spaghetti at the wall, in this spaghetti for breakfast. But and none of it sticks. Like, he has to back down. We're now in this.
Have you heard of him as the was it a taco trade?
No.
Have you heard of taco
trade
being used? Oh, you need to Google taco and Trump. And I want you to tell me what it stands for when you pull that up, because it was published in the Wall Street Journal, and a CNBC reporter asked Trump directly yesterday about him being called a taco president.
So the Hill. So this is directly from the Hill. President Trump on Wednesday bristled when asked.
Bristled, yeah,
bristled when asked about a new Wall Street based term based on his tendency to reverse his tariff threats, defending his approach and dismissing the question as nasty. A reporter asked Trump in the Oval Office about what was dubbed a Financial Times columnist as a taco trade, the acronym that stands for Trump always chickens out. Nice.
That has caught on like fire. And the fact that a reporter asked him directly to his face, brilliant. That person needs a Pulitzer Prize or whatever the prizes are for journalism.
And ultimately, what I'd love is for the more journalists to stick him like that, and they are. I'm seeing more journalists. Caitlin Collins was one with CNN. I haven't heard a lot out of her lately, but as far as like any of the clips that I was seeing pretty frequently, but like, that's what I want. But I was going to bring up there was a town hall in let's see, this is for Representative Ashley Hinson. Last night she held a town hall for her constituents where she was forced to defend Donald Trump in his massive spending bill. We saw another town hall just recently. I think it was this week, where one of the representative that was holding the town hall was asked questions about why he would support this big, massive, beautiful bill that had a piece of it that allows for the president and his executive branch to ignore subpoenas from either Congress or law enforcement. And why? And he said, well, I was not in favor of that. And
well, I think he said, I didn't know it was in there when I voted.
That's right. But he wouldn't, knowing that it was in there, he is not in favor of that. And it's like, well, you can't repeal the stupid thing now. I mean, you can just hope that the Senate doesn't take it up to vote, or that they vote it down and send it back to you, which ultimately I suspect that's probably what's going to happen, because the Senate is one that really loves their subpoena power.
So I think the congressmen and congresswomen are very susceptible to peer pressure when inside those chambers. And now they are truly scared to face their constituents, their supporters, their MAGA hat wearing people that are now saying, whoa, what did you just sign us up for? And there's going to be repercussions. I actually want to fast forward to November 2026, because I can't wait to see this. If there's any Republicans left in the U.S. Congress, I'll be surprised. It's going to be a wipeout of biblical proportions.
One of the, and this is a slight hard pivot. One of the categories in the Best of Columbia this year is, and they do it every year. Did you get whiplash? one of the categories is TV hog or something like that, or like requires the most attention in the local media category. I'm going to pull it up real quick because this is pretty funny, and it's there's an individual that's been listed in this category this year that I had not seen or even considered, because I guess I don't think about that part. But the category is biggest media hog, and Dick Harpootlian, who is a semi-Democrat here in Columbia, but mostly a lawyer. Henry McMaster's listed in there. One of the guests that has previously been on the All About Nothing podcast, famously Garnet, Zach Boyd, has also been listed. But the one that I voted for was Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace got a
Oh, yeah.
nomination as biggest media hog.
If she doesn't win 100% of that vote, I would be surprised.
I wish that they would release like the actual numbers of how many votes people got. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Nancy Pace pulls in a victory and shows up for the party as the biggest.
So Nancy Mace's entire platform is anti-trans, right? She's posing in front of bathrooms. She's using slurs about transgender individuals. That's her entire campaign. And I've seen this ABC TV special before, because this is the part that happens just before one of her children come out as trans, right? Yeah. I mean, this is just how this script is written. And I'm waiting to see how this comes all crashing down. This is not going to end well for Nancy Mace.
It really isn't. I mean, there's just no way it ends well. And she is going to retaliate, because that's what she does. And I think even that in retaliation, it is going to have a dramatic effect on what it is that she does for the rest of her future. We have a governor's race that is likely going to have Alan Wilson, who is the current attorney general here in Columbia or South Carolina. And I have heard rumors that Nancy Mace is considering running for that because she sees the writing on the wall in her district.
I think it's more than a rumor. She's actively campaigning. So she is online attacking this potential opponent in Alan Wilson every day, calling him a pedophile protector. I mean, she's just like coming out. There's nothing more violent than watching Republicans attack Republicans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nothing more vicious. And Nancy Mace is pulling out all the vicious stops. I truly hope she gets rejected in the primary in June of next year and then disappears into obscurity. I truly hope that's the case. Now, I'm guessing if she runs for governor and she does not win the primary and get the nomination, she's still eligible to run for U.S. Congress again and keep that seat.
Is she? So you can.
Believe that's true.
In South Carolina, you can run for two. You can run for two different. I guess that's true. I've seen that before. I've seen somebody running for county council and board of education. So I think you're right. I think you can. I mean, you have to file. Well, here's the thing: you have to file in March, regardless. So you have to file for both the Congress position and as well as governor. But it's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to. If you could file and run for both. Yeah, I'll you know what? I have friends over the election commission. I'll see if I can't get an answer out of that. All right, you pull some strings. Pull some strings. Some of the drama that's been going on here in Columbia has been around this the Columbia City Council deferring their decision on whether to overturn the conversion therapy ban. Have you been following any of that? I absolutely have. So it was a very progressive rule that the city council enacted. I don't even remember when, if it was this year or last year, but they decided to be one of the cities throughout the country, and many cities have done it, when the state's failing to do it, ban this practice of conversion therapy, which is absolutely brutal. There's a movie I watched which basically told the story of a teenager who was forced by her very religious conservative parents to go to this camp to cure her of her gayness, and just the traumatic abuse that she suffered. And this is all based on firsthand experience. Terrible, terrible practice. And so Columbia outlawed that practice, saying we're not going to allow it. And then that seemed to be fine for the most part until
some of the state legislators hear about it, the radical Freedom Caucus-y type of people, and said, all right, if you don't change that ruling, we're going to take away your city's funding from the state. Then they actually put a budget proviso in. And so now the council has been having to have emergency meetings to debate rescinding that rule because of this financial threat. And 2 times now, they've deferred the vote. They've had lots of debate. They've had lots of open testimony. And overwhelmingly, the people want to keep this in place. There is no reason why this should be allowed. And it should cities should be allowed to independently provide those type of ruling. The state doesn't want any federal interference. So why can't they extend that same courtesy down to cities to be free from state interference?
That is how the hierarchy of power is supposed to work. Is at the very top, you have your closest local government, and then it goes to the county, and then from the county to the state, and then from the state to the federal government. Like, that's how the power should flow. If you live in the city limits of a city or a town, your city or town has the right to create and invoke laws that that are specific to the citizens that live within those limits in the city, county, state, and then federal. That's how the power was designed. And the fact that in order to basically blackmail the city of Columbia into forcing them to get rid of this conversion therapy, which by the way, conversion therapy is probably the kindest name that they could give to it, because I have had friends that have described what their parents put them through to convert them, either through just religious mental torture. In some cases, there was the use of physical, I call it torture. I had a friend who literally described what she went through as being electrodes put on the side of her head and forcing her to repeat statements back to them that she was reading off of cards that were they were designed that if she was repeating them over and over with electrotherapy, that it would convert her from being gay. And it didn't, but she has physical scars on the side of her head that will potentially never go away. This was 25, 30 years ago, but it happened here in Lexington, and it was church sponsored. It's just disturbing. But yeah, so the city council voted 7-0 to hold off on any decision Tuesday afternoon during their regularly scheduled meeting. I imagine that'll probably be coming back up in their next meeting, which, I hope that the city council just votes to say, you know what, screw it. I mean, the city,
and then take the state to court over that budget proviso.
Right.
It's we need to change some of these state lawmakers. We have to change it. It's the only way we're going to get out of this muck that we're in.
It's the things that are the things that are being legislated.
We could always move to Texas, where they're about to sign in the 10 Commandments law into the school classrooms. That's about to hit the governor's desk today. Because that'll fix all their problems. That'll solve everything. I mean, I went to Catholic school, so there were 10 Commandments in all of our classrooms. Sure. And let me tell you, we were just the most delightful bunch. Not a single kid misbehaved. We were all clean as a whistle, very holy. We walked out of that school with halos over our head. It really is an effective means of enforcing
no premarital sex. There was no drug use. None of us ever looked at a bottle.
Seriously, I remember my freshman year at this school. It was Paul VI High School, and my first year, a pair of seniors were caught having sex in the chapel. I mean, this is what happens in these Christian Catholic schools. It's
and one
like
of them was
a public
the priest.
School. Oh, stop now. That's scandalous. Now it's blasphemous.
Is it though? There's factual evidence.
Well, yeah, true.
Maybe not in that case. Look, and don't get me wrong. I am sickened by the abuse that takes place in all religion. by the power at the top taking advantage of the weak or the meek at the bottom. That wasn't what Jesus intended. I don't, that's that is my biggest struggle.
Well, that was another hard pivot.
Yeah, yeah. and we're out of time. No,
Yeah.
I do. I feel that as far as Catholicism, and I am a non-practicing Catholic. I'm still Catholic. I've not been excommunicated, but my desire
I'm gonna have
would
to put
be.
you through a Catholic trivia session to see how true of a Catholic you were. I'm gonna put you to the test.
Okay, we can do that.
See how much you remember.
I remember my Apostles' Creed. I remember my Hail Marys. Do you
remember how many stations of the cross there are?
There are 12 or 13.
Well, see, you can't say 12 or 13. It's a very important number. It can only be one.
Is it 13?
And it might not even be both of those. So we'll come back to that. I'll come up with a Catholic trivia for you. See how much of a Catholic you are.
This is where we do the flash forward. Next time. Oh, I had News 19 pulled up and it all of a sudden just started playing audio for no reason. We'll do that flash forward where it's next time on the Kinda Daily Show. You are not a Christian, sir. You can't handle the Christianity. Anyway, sorry. Okay, I'm done. That's going to wrap it up because I have to go to work and you have a wedding to get to. Are you going to see your daughter today?
That's right. No, I won't see her until tomorrow.
Okay. And the rest of the family flies up on tomorrow. So
I'll be picking up the wife and the other kids at the airport tomorrow, and it's off to the races for a couple days.
Well, I hope that it is an outstanding celebration and that everyone has a really good time. I was going to ask you what type of wedding guest you are. Let's say you were not.
I'm not a wedding guest. I am a father of the bride. So,
but at a wedding,
it's a different role.
What type of wedding guest are you? Lampshade on the head kind of guy? Are you?
No. Just sit in the back and be happy. I'm a mellow, not a center of attention type of guy. Not at a wedding when it should be on the bride and groom.
Okay. I was just curious. I also, and another hard pivot, the Democratic convention, Democratic Party convention for South Carolina is this weekend.
Yeah. Are you going to the fish fry or any of that stuff?
So I will be at a baseball game Friday night, and on the way home from the baseball game, the baseball games don't go super late, so there is the potential I may try and drop by to hang out. But no, I did not. No one invited me to the Blue Palmetto dinner this year.
Well, basically nobody, meaning me, because I'm the one that's brought you there the last couple of years, and
twice.
Yeah, and this year I can't go because of a wedding, and therefore Barrett did not get an invite, so he's been locked out.
That's okay. There are other people that are potentially watching right now that could have invited me. I wouldn't have.
Listen, there's no way you're going to beat what we saw last year with Cory Booker and Raphael Warnock speaking. Two of the best speakers I'd ever seen.
That was fantastic. And I will also say that Cory Booker is one of the greatest selfie takers I've ever seen in my whole life. When like with fans.
Well, here's a real tease. I actually have a thought on Cory Booker that I want to bring up next Tuesday. So I will see you next Tuesday.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much, Mr. Bill, for joining this morning. I know being out there on the road can be a havoc. I'm trying to find my cards. So thanks for joining. And we like the view of your hotel there for one night. Big thanks for everybody tuning in. Don't forget, you can follow me at Barrett Gruber and Bill at politicalbillsc. You can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, right here, because apparently, even on vacation, we don't like to sleep in. So thank you very much for tuning in. You all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself.